Well, I'd like to take off on a premise when Malini shared the theme training as a business for future. Somewhere I'm respecting, but I'm also uncomfortable of it being a business. I stand here with that conviction that training is more of a mission. And that's what I have been internalizing thanks to role models who influenced me. But ultimately, the impact needs to be in business, and there I have no two ways about it, no qualms about it. But dwelling on the theme of it being a mission, it's about being very value-centric, customized to the organization's needs, the client's needs, because client is the supreme in our work. But I would not personally, in my role, having been in this avatar for the last almost 25 years, wouldn't like to compromise when it comes to pure core value systems. The challenge is very much on. The future is already here. It's not about there. It's already here. We need to wake up and be aware of it. And while the future is evolving currently around you and me in the roles that we play, whether it's pure HR BP professional or trainer, facilitator, coach, call it what may in terms of the different facets that one would lead and facilitate work in the organizations. And I believe very earnestly, again stemming from the experience that I've acquired, tough, mercenary, challenging, smooth sailing, and a variety of that. All that I'm saying is that when it's about being value-centric, with the type of change that are happening, there is a huge erosion, unconsciously, consciously being set in. And this huge erosion is what I call, by means of people who are working in the organization, especially the stakeholders, wanting and having a desire, which I wouldn't complain, and that's important from their perspective, that it needs to be packaged, it needs to be done, and needs to be done in quick enough time. I have an issue on that, because if you really need to help people learn, imbibe, internalize, wake up, and then become aware of where they are in terms of proficiencies and inadequacies, and to move on to really become into an action-oriented form, it's also important that there needs to be a stage or a phase of incubation. And that's where people like us in our fraternity would help each other network and get those things going. Second, people like us in the fraternity also need to be aware that if the requirement is of T20 of quickness type, it's also important to stand with conviction and say and assert, saying that it needs to be done in a more enduring fashion. I do wear the hat of an OD consultant at times when organizations give me the liberty and luxury and the need for collaborating in that form. And OD is not something which happens in a jiffy. It requires a lot of seeding process. It requires a lot of understanding of the overt and the covert process. It requires a lot of understanding of the diagnosis before moving into and stepping in. And therefore, all the while, I need to be a reflective practitioner in the role of a trainer or a coach or a facilitator or a consultant. A reflective practitioner in the sense, constantly keep reflecting about every single invitation when it's thrown up, every single diagnosis when it's happening, and every time that I ask those questions in the OD consultant hat or as a coach or as a trainer, what's happening? Are these questions helping me to understand the dynamics of the organization, which is becoming virulent, violent, very, very turbulent? At the same time, can I have the composure to understand from the perspective of a larger picture, are they talking about something which is very ad hoc, or are they talking about something which is very long-term and significant? And if it's ad hoc, can I have the ability to stay in my self as being a self as an instrument in the role that I play, to ensure that what I do is not merely transactional for the commercial point of view. And I've refused assignments when it is of that nature, and I have no regrets about it. But I enjoy, and the sense of fulfillment is more when there is more enduring, connecting, engaging work. And that is the challenge which I would probably look at as a big-time, dominant concern to be addressed. Second concern, as businesses are changing, I recently was in the panel at IIT for their annual event of the IIT DOMS, which is the Department of Management Studies, I had alongside me all experts in the technical domain. And they were going for a war cry, talking about machine learning, robotic stuff, and automation. But I was the single odd person. And I just want to share the essence of what I did share there. The values of empathy, humility, core integrity, and ability to understand human beings as human beings can never be negative, can never be neutralized, can never be substituted. Instead, the challenge is to, with all these challenges, with all the automation that's happening, can we look at how we can create, generate, and co-create along with the stakeholders the pathway to really emerge, not for one success in my role or your role, but to a collaborative success, which is important for the whole organization. And that's something which I'd like to really share as a reflection. And being reflective practitioners, it's important to not just listen, take it, but also look at where are you now at this point of time. Third concern, as businesses are emerging, which I would not like to escape from the reality, there is this tendency, come there, slam, bam, and go. I just talk about a little differently in the earlier vein. The slam, bam, and go approach would mean that you are creating euphoria, you are creating excitement, but is that excitement, euphoria lasting, sustaining, and therefore are the changes that are happening also can be co-created along with the process in terms of sustenance? And that concern is something which I'm grappling with. I haven't had any answers fully, but I know very well I'm in the quest. I'm in the search myself. But the beauty is that when I search along with the client representatives, when authenticity and congruence presents itself in my dialogue, as well as the dialogue that I could probably create in my own sense, and when they get to the authentic and congruent state, a lot more easier stuff can be handled. Haven't we heard, most of you, when you train the juniors, they say one level above need to be trained, and when you train one level above, the next level to be trained, and the next level to be trained, and where does the buck stop? There are times that I have diagnosed organizations where, while you ask me to do the work out there, I'll certainly do it, but can we have some dialogue about what we need to do at the top? Many a time, it's refused, declined. No, the issue is their concern is there. We want to motivate them. But motivation doesn't happen in a jiffy just because a trainer's got the language proficiency or the articulation ability or a few PPTs or a design that is selling by itself. But more importantly, to be congruent with the synthesis of the organization as it is. And therefore, there are times that I've been through hard dialogues, tough conversations, saying that it's important to look at the top, and that's where it emanates. It's not a cliche saying that change needs to happen at the top, but it's very much substantive. Very much substantive. So long as you and I have that conviction and the clarion call within us saying that that's important to be addressed, can we walk the pathway of looking at how we can diagnose better? And while we work along and partner with senior team members and stakeholders, there are many times, many covert issues and dynamics emanate. And it's important to point out, hold a mirror, well, this is where you are, and this is where you are treading, this is where you need to be cautious, these are your strengths, you are pretty much good here, but look at what you need to do. And that shadowing, that mirroring, that's important to be cleansed for the organizations. But it takes a long time. In a session of this nature, I can only share these thoughts, make you get to reflective stance more than ever before as you step to the hall today. And I'll leave you with this thought that it isn't easy, nor is it impossible. I wouldn't back out saying that, it's so difficult, therefore it's a very marshy environment. I've had challenges where the marshy environment are very, deeply entrenched in terms of morass of stuff that are happening there. But the challenge is to raise myself and help myself along with the group. And at the same time, I don't say I travel cross-currently, I travel with them. There is this beautiful metaphor which talks about resistance. There doesn't need to be a companion. But how do you get them to companion? To really walk their way and then help them walk our way and work together later on. And that's where the light of training is all about going to shine more. As Sashikant, the panelist said, there is no end to the possibility of trainers helping and enabling organizations. What's more important, glad that what we have traveled so far is great. Sad that there are certain things that are not happening in the way that we have considered palatable. But I'm really excited to put it across saying that there is so much to be done, many, many miles to go. Thank you.